Hey guys, it's Katherine again, and in this video we're reviewing to the Vampire Diaries Season 5, Episode 5, Monsters Ball. This episode for me, first of all, before I get to the episode, I just want to say that I think I was a little too harsh on the last episode. It wasn't a bad episode. There were just certain things that were annoying me, and it really was not that bad of an episode. I made it sound like it was a terrible episode. It was actually a pretty good episode, but I think it was just that some things were annoying me. And this episode literally fixed all that stuff because it made more sense of things, and I definitely enjoyed it more than last week's episode. But I really enjoyed this episode, and I thought there was some really big twists that we have here and a lot of things that we definitely need to worry about now and a lot more conflict, so that's great. So, first thing we have to talk about, again, the thing I was most upset about last week, I forgot to talk about, by the way, was that Tyler returned and that Stefan left town, and those were the two big things I left out. But if you remember at the end of last week's episode, we saw that Jessie presumably died by Maxfield in the, when he was turned into a vampire. He didn't want to be turned into a vampire, so he killed him. What it looks like, though, is that actually, what actually happens, though, is that we begin the episode where we see that Jessie is actually not dead. He did not die. Because Dr. Maxfield holds some blood under Jessie's nose. He comes to and tries to snap at it, but he won't feed him. He gets this handheld recorder and takes notes on how his change is progressing, and it turns out that basically he's been 3 days without feeding, that his veins are coming in, and he has intense light sensitivity. So Maxfield says he seems to be a perfect candidate, and we don't know where this is going to go. I don't know where this is going to go here, but we're definitely going to have to see what happens here. But this definitely is a big thing here because Jessie is not dead. It's just that Maxfield is keeping him there. As far as Elena goes, Elena is basically being a Debbie Downer this whole episode. It's kind of, it's just kind of sad for me. I mean, you definitely feel bad for her. You know, you definitely do feel bad for her. I think I just think you definitely do feel bad for her. So, yeah. But basically, here's what happens. Elena is basically very upset over Bonnie's death. She's back in school, and Bonnie asked her, basically, Bonnie is actually there in ghost form. She's talking to her, and she says that Stefan has it easiest because he can't remember. Caroline is distracted with Tyler, and Elena's current obsession is Maxfield and why he covered up the vampire murder. She wipes away tears, and Bonnie is there missing her, and Elena writes that she hopes Bonnie is there watching over her. So Elena calls up Damon, and he's there to put her he's basically there because she wants to go to the costume party with him, and that's the big thing this episode's big costume party. You know, when there's a party in the Vampire Diaries, a lot of shit's gonna go down at that party. Because you can never have a party in the Vampire Diaries without a lot of shit going down. And definitely it did. So also we see that basically there's this memorial to Megan, and Elena meets up with this guy who is actually one of Megan's friends. And he feels really bad for her. He doesn't think that Megan would have killed herself. He wants to know what happened exactly. And she asks for his name, and he just stomps away. He doesn't seem like he's into her. And Elena doesn't know what's going on. She really is puzzled here because she doesn't know what's going on here. And so she sees him again at the costume party when eventually her and Damon go to the costume party, or costume ball, I should say. And she is dressed as Anne Boleyn, and Damon is dressed as Henry V. And basically she asks if he killed Megan, and he says of course not. And basically, she just feels really, she doesn't know what's going on with him, and she feels really just compelled to him, I think. I think that's definitely what it is. It's because Megan, there was a lot of mystery behind her in the first episode. I don't know what it was about her, but there was a lot of mystery about her. There's definitely more about her that we need to know, and this guy is, like, the only thing she could know about Megan. And it just seems like, and he says that his name is Aaron, but then he walks away. So quickly after this, she meets up with him again, in the car, but first she sees Maxfield, and Maxfield is there, and it turns out that Aaron is actually Maxfield's son. So that's why he doesn't want to talk to her, because he's Maxfield's son, and this is a pretty big deal here, because we definitely see that, we definitely see that he basically is Maxfield's son. It's a pretty big thing, because that's the main reason why he, doesn't want to talk to Elena, and Maxwell tells him to stay away from Elena, and, that's basically where that story goes. She's very upset over this, and, you know, I really liked her speech, by the way, she gave to Damon when she was talking about Bonnie, and how she feels really upset over this, and everything. It's a really tragic loss for her, because that was her best friend. She was with Damon when she didn't even realize her best friend was dead. She just feels really stupid over it, and she should feel stupid, because, I mean, the fact that she didn't really know, I mean, it's kind of just, I really don't know what to think about that. But the other big plot that we have to talk about definitely is Damon. Damon, by far, had the most interesting plot this whole episode, in my opinion. He had a very big plot, definitely. Basically, because Bonnie has died, Damon wants to do something about it because he sees how bad Elena is hurt. He definitely wants to do something about it. He decides since Bonnie was a supernatural creature, the only way he can fix this and bring her back possibly is to work with Silas. Now, this is a very big thing here because he actually wants to kill Silas, but he's going to work with Silas. And I thought that was just a really big thing that's going on here. And basically when he works with Silas, Silas says, okay, I'll work with you, but you have to kill your brother, which means he basically has to kill Stefan. And, you know, since Stefan is connected to Silas, Silas would die. So Damon's all for it, basically. So eventually, though, we see that also he wants to meet up with Tessa. Now, Tessa he sees at the party. And Tessa is dressed as Cleopatra, and she sees Stefan, and basically we find out, you know, she sees Stefan, and she thinks it's Stefan, but it's really Silas. And so eventually she asked, Silas meets up with her, and she asks why she's at a costume college party, and it seems like her and Silas are actually starting to, Silas actually, he tells her that maybe part of her still loves him, and he reveals that he's Silas, and she's shocked, and she just can't believe that he's Silas, basically. And eventually Silas gets this crushing pain in his head, and Stefan is coming too, and Damon had broken Stefan's neck before. And eventually, though, it pumped him out of Vervain, and Silas actually gets his powers back and a text that says, hurry up. So quickly after this, we see that the other big thing going on here is that Tessa is searching through a room of artifacts, and basically we see that the real thing that's going on here is that Silas collapses, Tessa runs to him, calls him Stefan, then Stefan is in the room and tells her it's Silas, and that he's working with Damon, and he lying her. She tells him he won't be around to find out where the anchor is. She holds out her hand and chants. He tells her she can't kill him and that she loves him. She says she did, and now she's going to break his. She reaches into his chest and grabs it. She tells him she's going to crush his heart so his blood can flow and he'll rot from the inside out. And basically he looks like a cold, gray, hideous monster, but he actually does not die. And we'll talk about that. Let's just get into Katherine's storyline because that has to do with the rest of Silas, basically. So Katherine is still being held by Nadia. Stefan's kind of getting annoyed at this. He wants her to leave immediately. And Katherine's just like, okay, just hand me over to Silas because I know he's going to want all my blood. Katherine at this point just wants to die. That's what she wants. She just wants to be handed over to Silas. But we see that Nadia is not going to let her leave. Eventually, Katherine's like, why'd you kill my mother? And it turns out that she actually, you know, what happened to her mother? And it turns out that Nadia actually killed her mother and brutally hanged her. And the reason this happened is because it turns out that Katherine is actually Nadia's mother. Nadia is Katherine's daughter, and Katherine is Nadia's mother. We don't know where this happened, we don't know where this came from, but it's definitely a very big reveal. We're definitely going to see what happens here, and I can't wait to see where this leads, because it's very big, and I could definitely, I could see it being the other way around, but for her, being her mother is definitely a big reveal, not really something I expected, but I thought that was a really big reveal, and really nice reveal as well, because it was really good the way they set that up. I definitely enjoyed that. So then after this, basically, we see that there's this, slowly after this, there's this knock at the door. And also, by the way, Nadia has woken up and she tells Katherine she was a fool for not running. Katherine says she's good at running from bad guys. She says the one outstanding question was where Nadia was in 1498. And she's shocked that Katherine came back for her, basically. And she tells her daughter that it's nice to meet her, basically. So it was very strange to see that. And then after this, at the end of the episode, basically we found out that they have the dissected Silas in the living room and discuss that he needs to eat Katherine to become a witch, and then they can use mortal Silas to bring back Bonnie. But then there's a knock at the door, and it's Katherine. She's thrilled to see Silas looking all corpsey. She says now she has all the time in the world. She laughs and she says she beat death again. But slowly Damon lunges at her, and he's like about to kill her. And it looks like she's dead. She collapses to the floor, but slowly after this they hear this heart beating, and it turns out that Katherine did not die from this. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how she didn't die from this, but it's interesting. We're definitely going to see what happens here. But for some reason, she did not die from this. And she thinks she's in hell, but she is, still alive. So we're going to have to see what happens here. And I definitely think that's going to be really cool. I'm so happy that Katherine was on this episode because Katherine is she's so good this season. I love her character this season. She's by far the best character on this show this season. No doubt a doubt. In my opinion, without a doubt. The other big plot in this episode, of course, had to do with Tyler and Caroline. Tyler and Caroline's storyline broke my heart. First of all, I do want Caroline and Jessie together. I still want that now that I know that Jessie's alive. But I really like seeing the two of them together. They are very cute, and I have always loved them together. And she's basically trying to make up for all the past time that Tyler was gone. She's also upset that he just leaves, and, he comes and he leaves. And she's kind of tired of this. So, she basically says, why don't we just go to this costume party and dress up as Bonnie and Clyde? And everything seems to be going well. But slowly after this, he tells her that he still has not forgiven Klaus and he needs to continue hunting him, which makes me think that Tyler is going on to the originals and that he is the wolf in Haley's thing. But we'll talk about that in the originals. I still think that Tyler's going to be in the originals, but we'll talk about that later when I do the originals. But basically, slowly after this, she says, no, I'm tired of this leaving. If you walk out that door, we're done. I'm not doing this anymore. We're completely done if you walk out that door. So he does leave, and it's really sad because you really feel bad for Caroline. But I really think they're trying to set up Jessie and Caroline. I really think that's what's going to happen here. And you know what? I would love for that to happen because those two are so cute together. I would really love to see that happen. So yeah, that was basically the episode. It was a pretty big episode we got here. The biggest reveal, of course, is that Katherine is Nadia's mother. Also the fact that Silas is not dead and that he's now human or something like that. We'll definitely have to see what happens. Why did Katherine not die? I don't know. And what's the mystery behind Aaron's character? There's definitely more mystery behind his character. The whole thing with Megan is also a very big mystery. We don't know what's going on there. As far as Bonnie, what do you think is going to happen with Bonnie? Is she going to eventually, how can Damon bring her back? There's got to be a way for Damon to bring her back without working with Silas. Because working with Silas, obviously, it's not going to work. It's definitely not going to work. Yeah, that's basically my... Also, do you want Caroline and Jessie together? I definitely do. That's it for my review. I hope you enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.